Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whalen.
And I'm Tardy. Not to be confused with
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, that's right. Yeah, I get that all the time.
And I'm Tom Hardy.
How's
it going?
Yeah. So it's good to have you on the show, Tom. So what was it like working with Chris Nolan?
It was absolutely terrible.
Really?
Yes. He wore a suit every day, and I just felt underdressed.
Wow.
That Chris Nolan.
This is off to a terrible start.
Or is it off to a fantastic start?
I guess we'll see.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Look who we finally have on the show for the first time
In a while. It's Alex.
It's Alex. Today, well...
Not Tom Hardy.
Not Tom Hardy. Dude, if we had Tom Hardy on, I would... I'm sorry. I love you, but I'd kick you out. I'm like, no, it's Tom Hardy. Get out.
Yeah.
What's up?
I wouldn't be invited either. So.
But yeah, we haven't had Alex on this season yet, and relative to this recording, it's his birthday. So
Yay.
we decided, because a while back he asked us that when we were going to talk about this movie, and I was like, you know what? It's your birthday on Saturday. Let's do it. So today we're talking about The Revenant. Now y'all have seen the movie before, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one who...
Yeah, a few times.
This is the first time I've ever seen it. Yeah, so now I'm the odd man out.
Well, which is why it was your pick, right? I mean, it's, it's on your list, so.
Yeah, in case the people have forgotten, this is the season of first watches, so, yeah. But, I mean, it was, man, I don't even know where to begin with this movie.
Well, I was going to start by asking what you thought.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's Leo DiCap.
Yep.
Tom Hardy, and all written and directed by Alejandro Iñárritu.
Yep.
I mean, as the listeners, mainly Zach, know, I love Alejandro. So, I mean, this was a no-brainer. So it was everything I wanted it to be and more.
Yeah, of course.
It was intense. It was very unforgiving. Yeah. Like, we really felt Hugo Glass really struggling to survive. So, it was everything I wanted it to be.
Cool.
So Alex, why did you, when you first asked us, why did you want to do The Revenant?
Well, I really love this movie. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a nature guy.
Yeah.
So I think that may be part of it, and the cinematography is extraordinary.
It is.
I don't know how anybody could complain about it.
Dude, we could do the whole 3-hour long
just
episode over just the cinematography.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of interesting things to talk about, which I'm sure we will. But yeah, and I just like survival stories mostly, and this was, and it is an actual thing that happened.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, I'm sure there's some liberties taken with the film and the book, because it was the 1820s, so you can't really. A lot of people didn't
write shit
down as much as they could have, but it was an actual thing. So it's amazing that a man could bear crawl 200 miles and actually live after being attacked by a bear
and being left for dead.
Yeah, being left for dead by his friends.
Yeah,
I guess not really friends.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
I'm also the only person here apparently that has read the book.
Yeah, I have not read I don't know how to read. We've been over this.
As everyone knows, Jeremy doesn't know how to read, and I take too long to read, so I wouldn't have had time to finish the book before we needed to do this. So,
fair enough.
Well, at least you get to tell us some of the differences between the book and the movie.
Yeah.
So, boys, where would you like to begin with all of this? Should we tell the people about the real story?
Sure, I won't be able to do that as much, so I'll leave that up to you guys. I know.
I'll leave this up to Alex.
Because I know very little about it. I know that yes, Hugh Glass was a real person. Yeah, that's about it.
And he got mauled by a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book kind of, like I said, takes some liberties because it basically follows Hugh Glass, and only Hugh Glass, because
Right, of course.
You know, it goes a little bit with like the movie with Fitzgerald and Bridger, but you know, he's an actual person with a fur hunting group, and you know they were running out of time for winter, so they started to head back when he gets mauled by a bear, very gruesomely. And the book goes into a lot of detail with that, which is very cool.
Cool.
Nice.
So, and it was 1820s. 1823, I believe, was the year it happened.
I'm
And
sure
so-
Future Rain will put an edit up on the screen.
Sure.
Maybe. I might be right. But
Yeah, he'll
But
probably
he,
put that up too.
yeah, but he goes that, and then they try and save him as much as they could, but you know, it's the 1820s in the middle of nowhere. You can only do so much. So
Yeah.
everyone expected him to die, so they leave him behind with a couple people, and then those people decide, winter's coming. We have to get back to our fort, or else we face starvation and the elements.
Yeah.
So they leave him dead, and in the book, he never had a son.
Okay.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, he didn't have a son at all. They don't know if he actually had a wife, or if he did.
Mhm.
But in the movie, or in the novel, they don't mention it at all, because they don't know, so he didn't want to put it in.
Right.
But I can see why they would add that for the movie for some
Right.
for some dramatic effect.
Right. For
So,
tension, for
yeah,
dramatic
so really,
effect, right.
the main driving force behind him seeking out revenge is mainly just for himself, and not because his son gets murdered in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, that he was left for dead.
And also that they took his prized Kentucky rifle that he put so much care. And there's a whole bunch of spots where it talks about how much he cared for this rifle, and goes into detail like the specs on it, and
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
how well he takes care of it.
Well, that
And-
explains that small piece of dialogue in the film where Fitzgerald is confronting him about something and
Tells him to quit polishing that
quit
rifle.
polishing the rifle. Yeah.
Yeah.
They sort of allude to that too.
Yeah.
Well, then and Fitzgerald does take the rifle.
Right.
But,
Yeah, they literally leave him with nothing. Only Bridger gives him a canteen, and I'm not even sure if that's even in the novel, because they expected him to just be dead. So
just die. Yeah.
why are they going to waste any
Right.
precious
yeah.
commodities with him?
Yeah. Waste any of their supplies on someone who's not going to need it. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it definitely seems like the movie tried to keep everything accurate. Again, like what Jeremy said, I understand why they gave him a son.
Yeah.
To give him an emotional arc.
Yeah. Also, the Frenchmen in the movie, they're just kind of these assholes the entire time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're double crossing.
Yeah, but they actually sort of help him along the way,
Oh.
and they're just
Interesting. I wonder why that changed.
I bet probably
to add some more.
Some everything is a threat
Yeah.
out there. Everything
Yeah.
and everyone. That's
that
interesting.
he's metaphorically and literally not out of the woods yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I guess the whole Arikara tribe thing.
Uh-huh.
That's not really. I mean, there was some native interactions, but they focus. They have a subplot of the missing chief's daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
As another driving force of he needs to get to safety or they're gonna catch up to him.
Yeah.
But in the movie, that kind of circles back and plugs in nicely. Do you want me
Yeah.
to tell you how the book ends?
Sure, yeah.
It's different.
Oh, I think I know how the book ends. But
I have no idea.
He does not take revenge on either Bridger or Fitzgerald. Bridger, he just kind of says, "I forgive you. You're fine." Because in same thing, Bridger didn't really have anything to do with
Right.
them
He
leaving.
was just
mostly
following
It
orders.
was mostly just Fitzgerald, and all he does to Fitzgerald is take back his rifle and then just leave him.
Okay.
So he forgives both of them instead of in the novel where he has this bout with
I mean
him.
the movie.
The movie where he has this bout with Fitzgerald at the
Right.
end.
Well, and I think the reason why I think that probably they did that was for the drama, for to kind of bring his story full circle, he has to kill Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it might be hard to convey, but I mean, you could convey just the willingness to survive just for survival's sake. You know what I mean? That's not too out of the realm of a concept, for audiences to grasp. But I understand, right? Adding in the son, adding in the revenge, right?
Because I feel like it hits harder a lot of your want and need to survive.
Right.
When you witness your own child being murdered in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what they wanted to add more to was, something even like, yeah, because you can survive for yourself, but I know, I guess it's probably not the same, because I do have children, and if I, probably witnessed that, I would probably go to the same lengths.
Yeah.
The Revenant 2.0, Alex's story.
Yeah, I got the hair for it.
Yeah?
Yeah, you do.
We just need to airdrop you into the middle of, like, the Canadian woods.
Okay.
All right, let's do
You'd
it.
be fine.
Now, Jeremy.
There's global warming. There's no more snow. So
That's
it'll be
true.
fine.
So, Jeremy, as you mentioned when we gave the audience a little teaser about the Northmen, I'm sure you love this because it's a story of revenge.
Yeah, I do love revenge. No, there's nothing more satisfying than watching someone enact revenge.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's amazing. I love it. In any film that has to deal with revenge, it's just the best. There's nothing better than sweet revenge.
So when you first saw the movie, you were probably sold from the minute.
Well, I was sold. I was a fan of Inarritu's anyway.
Yeah.
So I was already sold on that. And then, yeah, I mean, as soon as, the opening shot, I'm just like, this is how it's going to look,
Yeah.
So of course I was sold, right? And then I'm like, oh, it's revenge. Oh, my God. Just icing, It's the best.
So it wasn't the cherry on top. It was. So what would have been the cherry on top for you?
The cherry on
getting revenge.
Yeah, getting the revenge.
Getting the revenge.
Yes, and I liked how the revenge, we'll get to it,
Yeah.
How he got his revenge, right? It's not what you would expect.
Yeah. That's true.
Right. So
Yeah. So okay. So we have a pretty ensemble cast in this movie.
yeah.
How to explain it to the audience of this ensemble cast?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any ensemble cast. I think that, in this space and in this movie, we are introduced to people so fast because there are so many people in the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
We have the scene of Glass and his son hunting, right? And then we go back to the camp, and then the camera is beautifully weaving in and out of everyone in the camp. And then we lose a lot of people in the camp.
Yeah,
and so,
we lose
Almost immediately.
33 people.
Yeah, just immediately.
Yeah.
Well,
and again, shout out to Alejandro and his steady cam and his one shots.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess that would be Lubeski.
Some of that stuff is just so incredible. There's times where things are whizzing past the camera, like arrows.
Or there's one scene that very first attack where it's because you follow the action through everything, and you go, from Leonardo DiCaprio running to being choked out, to then the person choking him out gets smashed by a rifle,
right?
And then he gets an arrow through the head, and then he gets his face smacked in by a guy on a horse, and you immediately jump in with the horse, and you're going fast with that.
Yeah,
and then he gets shot off, so the camera slows down, and
it's reminiscent of, for me anyway, and I know they know each other and they're friends, would be Corone, for Children of Men. For
shout
instance.
out to our Children of Men episode, which also had Alex.
That's right. I think that I don't know what they're teaching in Mexico City, but it's working.
it's wonderful.
Oh yeah. Dude, it's absolutely. So we just, man, I wasn't. So I, obviously, going into the movie, I knew it had Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. I didn't realize it had Dominic Monaghan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Donald Gleason.
Dominic
Monaghan is Mary from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
that's right, because we were talking about Lord of the Rings earlier. Yes,
Donald Gleason.
Yes. I knew Will Poulter was in it.
Eyebrow kid, as some people call him.
The first thing Haley said was, "Oh, eyebrows."
Yeah.
Show him respect. He's Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Of course.
But anyway, but yeah, so I didn't know they were in it, and I was like, oh my god, they're in this now? Oh my, like, I was even more like falling
You
in
were
love.
stoked to see familiar faces.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it had no one I recognized in it, I probably still would have loved the movie. But, you know, seeing these actors...
And also, that's like really it as far as big name ones.
That's
Pretty
true.
much. There was another person in it that I missed that I didn't even realize who was in it. He's also in Inception. I think it's either Thomas Hayes or Lucas Hayes. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas Hayes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one in the very beginning of Inception.
Yeah, he's the...
Yeah, he's the
little
architect.
of
He's the
dream.
architect in the dream in the beginning. He has a very recognizable face if you see it. But
He's also the dude that Two-Face tries to murder in The Dark Knight.
That is correct. That is also right. So there's some nice DiCaprio, Hardy, and Hayes back from Inception.
Yeah.
So yes, there are a lot of recognizable faces. Once you wean out the crowd in the beginning, you get to recognize them more.
Oh, yeah. But there is one, I just want to get it out of the way now. There is one sort of grievance I have with
A grievance?
the movie.
Ooh.
It's mainly whoever cut the trailer.
Okay.
So I knew somewhat of the story from the trailer that, his son is killed and it sets him on this path of revenge. But the trailer made it seem like it was Will Poulter. It was his son. And then I'm watching the movie, I was like, wait, I thought Will was his son.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that was sort of my only... Like I said, it may not have been Alejandro's fault, whoever cut the trailer.
I see what you mean.
But...
You were just going in with different expectations.
Correct. But, I mean, I still love the movie.
Of course.
And it still was awesome. But, yeah, it was just like, really?
I think one of the things I love about this movie so much, and I know we're jumping around a lot, but is this use of camera. So it's autonomous, right? We've talked about this before. It also happens a lot in Children of Men, where the camera isn't anyone's specific perspective. It is its own, right? And there are some subtle and sometimes not subtle fourth wall breaks with the camera by it being fogged up.
Oh,
Yeah, with his breath.
Right.
Love that.
With things getting splashed on the lens, which we've seen in other things, of course. But really, it's the fogging up of the lens with the bear and with him, and it sort of immerses you in this. But then, of course, there's that separation where we're not in danger because there's something in between us and the bear, right?
Yeah.
But it is immersing you in these situations where the tension is so much higher because you're in it, right?
Yeah, and that was something I was digging the whole movie, is seeing the breath on the lens and and I love that it's not isolated. It's the whole frame fogs up.
Yeah.
And they're so awesome.
Yeah, there's one scene that I really love, and it's like a transition scene of is Leonardo DiCaprio. Hugh Glass is like sitting by a fire and he's breathing, and you can kind of see his breath, and then that transitions to a shot of some clouds in the sky.
Yes.
And then that transitions to Fitzgerald smoking a pipe, and the smoke is comes into the clouds, and it's like kind of like an all connected thing. And I thought that was really cool.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So, okay. So to give the audience more of an idea, let's talk about Glass's journey.
Okay.
And how he just doesn't catch a break.
No.
Like, I really thought he was going to catch a break, and then when he falls off that cliff, I'm like, man, he just cannot.
I know.
He just can't catch a break.
No. And of course, I mean, the thing that tips it all off, of course, is the thing that people know about this movie the most is the bear attack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, even when I told my sister, she's like, that's the one with Leo and the bear. And I'm like, yep.
Yep. And again, I think
I think the drawing factor.
And I almost, I was susceptible to it as well after so many years of not seeing it. That's what I remembered about it. And I was like, it's just a bear attack. I don't really remember much more about it. I'm just gonna, leave it on the shelf and not watch it. Right. Rewatching it again, it just reminded me of how incredible the movie is and how well it's made. Right. But it's that bear attack that's just and of course it's the thing that knocks all the dominoes down.
Right. Now, do you think, though, before we tell everyone about the journey, do you think, had he just very quietly crawled away, not tried to shoot the bear, do you think he would have been as fucked up as he was?
Yes. I think he would have died.
He would be even more fucked up.
Yeah.
Really?
Because
sure.
grizzly bears do not. If they smell you, you are. Yeah. You can't run away.
So he was fucked either way.
And
I mean, kind of. I mean, his only chance was to kill the bear.
Yeah, to try and hurt it as much as he could.
Right.
So usually if a grizzly bear sees you or smells you and comes after you, they run a lot faster than you are, and they can climb a tree. So
yeah,
and they can swim very good.
Yeah, because the whole time, and don't judge me, guys, but the whole time I was like, why did you attack it? It was leaving you alone. Like, why?
For now.
For now, that's true. Yeah, but then again, also at the same time, had he didn't continue to attack it, then we wouldn't have had the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a general sense, yes.
Oh, yeah. He would have crawled away like, oh, credits roll. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
15-minute movie. Great.
Yeah.
But so this bear attack really just kind of starts it all off.
Well, and again, it's also the way it's filmed. So it's the one shot, right? It's agonizing, the whole thing, because it's in real time. It's one shot. And it's almost, I mean, it's like the scene in Irreversible, right? Where it is just unforgiving. It is, you are staring right at it, right? And you can't look away. It's not letting you, right? And of course, everything is so realistic. The injuries are realistic, and the sounds, right? I mean, it's
very
brutal.
good CGI as well.
It's phenomenal CGI.
Yeah, I did really like, because I did read this, that people were asking Alejandro if the movie was going to be filmed on a green screen and use CGI, and I love that he did only use CGI for the animals, that everything else is pretty much practical.
I don't think you can train a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, listen, Grizzly, you're going to attack Leo, right?
But
don't cut too deep.
Yeah,
and he's like, all right, I got you.
Give me some fish and we're good.
And he's waving. Hey, give me some fish.
With his paw.
But cute. Alejandro said that had they used CGI, the movie would look like shit.
Yeah.
And so I do like that they only constrained the CGI to blood and animals,
which sucks only for the actors, right?
Because Leo had to.
Because it's cold.
Yeah.
Every time they got in that water, I was like, oh man, it's got to be just frigid in that water. I don't know how they did it. I mean, I'm sure he had a wetsuit under there or something.
Well, and I'm sure they probably also had doctors on set to
course.
be like, hey, make sure his temperature doesn't go this
or whatever. But it's I don't care who's there, he still has to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and props to Leo for committing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this movie got him his Oscar. I feel like we've talked about it on the show before that he should have gotten Oscars for other ones, but his level of commitment for this one that's
really what seals the deal.
It's top notch.
Yeah.
Yes.
He ate a raw liver.
Yeah, I read that last night, that being a vegan, he willingly ate a raw bison liver.
Yeah.
And that's what we see on camera.
Yeah.
So, his shout out to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Of course.
But anyway, okay. So he gets attacked, and they do his best to suture the wounds.
Kind of.
But what finally kind of breaks the rest of the troop is they can't carry him up a mountain.
Well, and it's winter.
And Glass was supposed to be the person to find, because he was the one that knew the area. Right. He was the mountain man that knew, he knew where to go. He knew how to find all these different routes because he had been there many times before. And I think, they sort of knew, but, they didn't really know the best because you can't really ask him because he got his throat
sliced
by a bear.
Right.
So I think that partly has something to do with why they, they're having such trouble getting him there. And also they had to set their boat away. Which also, speaking of the boat.
Sure.
There's two guys that stay on the boat.
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
because they're the ones that
Oh, that's right.
that are like pushing it out
Right.
from the bank.
And they were supposed to jump off,
They're supposed to jump off.
but they decided to stay on.
Yeah, they stay on the boat because, that was their plan of, do we stay on the boat and have the Arikara tribe like track us because they're gonna do that anyway,
Right.
kill us from the boat, or do we set on foot and set the boat away
And
as a distraction? So
Right.
they follow the boat and we get a chance to sneak off.
and Fitzgerald is heavily against
Yeah.
the sending the
Leaving
boat
the
off.
Of course.
But of course, as we would learn, he was wrong, and that Glass was right.
Yeah.
That they were going to attack the boat regardless.
Yeah.
And those dudes get killed.
Those poor guys.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
But yeah, so okay, so
So they leave him.
they leave him,
Well, at first, Captain Henry is going to
kill him.
shoot him in the head,
Yeah,
put him out of his misery, but he can't bring himself to do that because, he's part of the reason that they're still alive. So he offers, $100 for each man that will stay behind and take care of him until he passes.
Or until they can get help.
Yeah, which very unlikely.
Yeah.
So obviously his son volunteers and says, he'll give up his 100. Jim Bridger volunteers because he feels bad as well. And then the crybaby Fitzgerald, as you like to call him, the whiny baby.
Dude, he was whining the whole movie.
He volunteers because both Jim and
Hawk.
Hawk have offered up. So he's like $300 for waiting a couple days before I go back.
Sure.
He's like, might as well.
Right. And I think in that scenario, he also was scheming a way to.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, he was like, there's no
needed-
way I'm staying here more than 2 days.
I immediately thought that. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, and see, I feel like Captain Henry knew, like, really. And that's why he gives him the third degree, like, you have to wait until he dies.
Yeah.
You can't, like,
Bury
and
him.
then you
Bury
bury him and you give him a proper burial, Because I feel like even Henry knew, like, okay, you're up to something.
Yeah.
Like, you've been bitching this whole time, and now you're going to
He does give a good reason, because they're losing the pelts.
Yeah. They don't have any pelts,
Yeah.
really. They've stashed them.
Like they're going to go back for him.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going back for him.
Well, they could.
They could,
Well,
Yeah.
but
next-
it's unlikely.
after winter.
Right.
But, those things could be rotten. You don't know. So, the whole time he's complaining about, like, he needs those pelts to survive from the money. And if I don't have money, I can't survive. So this is the only way I can make money. I'm going to do it.
Right. But yeah, I was like, yeah, he's already coming up with a plan.
Yeah.
And this is where things tend to go off, where another domino falls, which is, it's probably like a couple of days they're out there watching Glass, and Fitzgerald's kind of had enough. But because he's slightly honorable, he's not going to just kill Glass. So he makes a deal with Glass. If you blink, I'll put you out of your misery, because the what tribe was it? Because I noticed they refer to him as just the Ree.
The Ree.
They're gonna catch up with us, and your boy's not gonna make it. So just blink. I'll put you out of your misery. We'll bury you, and you can save your son.
Which doesn't seem like, from your retelling of the novel, that the tribes tracking them down was even a threat in the novel. Were there?
Well, I mean, it kind of was, just because that's how, the fur trade and the trappers and, like, that, area of exploration kind of was.
Yeah.
Some of the tribes were friendly with I guess, white people. But then a lot of them, I'd say most of them are, but there was a good change of them that did not care.
I see.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, just like we were here first, But a lot of times, the native tribes would be fighting with themselves, with other native tribes. So if you are friendly with one tribe and they don't like that tribe, well, they're not going to be friendly with you.
Right.
So-
Right. But yeah, but then Hawk, not hearing this conversation, thinks that Fitzgerald is just trying to kill his dad.
Well, I mean, he may have been, because
That's true.
Say if you blink and you'll die. Like you can only hold your eyes open for so long.
Right.
Yeah, and
He does this while Hawk and Jim are out filling up their water canteens.
Right.
So
but
I wouldn't say it's as horrible.
But Hawk panicking, thinking that Fitzgerald's trying to kill his dad. Fitzgerald kills Hawk.
Yeah.
Which makes another domino fall. This is what sparks Glass's revenge quest.
Right.
Witnessing his own son being killed in front of him. And
So Fitzgerald buries Hawk.
not really. He just kind of hides.
Well, yeah,
him.
just kind of hides his body. Jim comes back, and then they fall asleep. And that's when Fitzgerald comes back with
the whole
the whole. He's like, you need to be real quiet. There's 20 Ree.
We need to get
by
out
the
of here.
river. We got to leave now. And Jim asks where's Hawk, and he's like, I don't know. He must be gone somewhere. So he leads Jim to believe that Hawk is still alive, even though we've murdered him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they just kind of toss Hugh in a
shallow grave.
yeah.
And
Toss some dirt on him, and Fitzgerald's like, there, he's buried.
yeah,
Take his stuff, and then they dip.
they dip. But then we get some great, just sheer power from Glass of pulling himself out of that grave, finding his son's body, and then deciding, I'm not... Because I actually genuinely thought he was going to give up. But then I was like, well, why would he give up? Then the movie would be over.
He also buries his son, too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he's sort of. He kind of covers him in dirt.
Yeah.
But for a man who was mauled by a bear, it's pretty impressive as well.
But then, Bear crawls his way down to the river, having grabbed as much supplies as he could. Some of the fur coats that they left, pelt that they left him. And we just, just sheer willpower for these next, the first few times we see Glass sort of, quote unquote, on the run. It's just him slowly kind of healing and willing his limbs back into working.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive.
Yeah.
Like if this is how the real Hugh Glass did it, I'm very impressed.
In the book, there's a map of the direction he went,
Really,
which is longer than the direction the other men went.
really. So he really could have died.
Yeah.
Damn.
Do you want to talk about the scene that you said?
Oh my God. So
With his throat.
yeah, I mean, I think my favorite scene of him trying just to get well enough to move is him cauterizing his neck, because he's
with gunpowder.
Yeah, because he's drinking from the canteen, and of course his neck is still bleeding so much, and
water drips out of it.
drips
too.
out of it, and so he realizes that if
If you can't drink water,
he can't survive. So with the gunpowder, packs it in his neck and built a quick fire and it's so rad.
Well, see, and I paused right before it happened, and Ashley was in the bedroom reading, and I yelled from the living room. I was like, "Oh my God, he's about to cauterize his neck!" And she's like, "Ow!" And then I hit play, and then he just
Dude.
A similar thing happens, not with gunpowder, but in the novel, he has to let a bunch of maggots eat the dead flesh off of his back, so that he'll actually heal.
Yeah. I was wondering, because I was watching it with Haley. Haley was half watching, and she goes, "What about all the infection?" I go, "I don't know. They really don't touch on it in the movie, but
Yeah.
I mean, they do, but they don't.
they do a little bit, especially when he gets quote unquote rescued.
By his friend, by his friend, who tells him if you're not healing, your body's gonna rot, and you'll die. And then
Hickok is his friend.
Huh?
That's his name, by the way.
How do you?
Hickok,
Oh, that's how you say it.
the native guy.
And then of course,
I think he's Pawnee as well.
And then,
Pawnee.
spoiler, when he makes it back to the fort, even the doctor's like, "Yeah, there's quite a bit of swelling, but he just needs to rest."
He's fine.
And then he doesn't rest.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's like, "Nah, I'll rest when Fitzgerald's dead." But yeah, and it's this whole sequence. Of course, we're cutting back and forth between Glass and the troop.
Yeah.
But this whole sequence of Glass narrowly escaping death from the Ree and slowly but surely being able to walk properly.
Yeah. Catch a fish.
Which I was telling Ashley about it, and she was like, yeah, he eats like a raw fish, right? I was like, well, it's a fake raw fish, but he eats a real raw bison liver.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure eating a raw fish probably would have made Leo really sick.
Depends. But
Sushi.
Yeah, but that's controlled, though.
I know.
yeah.
And plus, how was he eating around all the bones?
You just eat the bones.
Well, first you gotta. I saw Bear
Calcium.
Grylls do this. You gotta
Vitamin
bite
D.
the spine to get to stop moving. So I saw Bear Grylls do that once.
I saw Gollum do that one.
So
yeah.
So what you're saying is Hugh Glass definitely watched Man vs. Wild,
Of course.
before he went out there.
Yeah.
is there any
Big fan.
is there any way to say that Hugh Glass isn't Bear Grylls? I mean, think of it. Bear?
Boom.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's all connected. So what you're saying is Hugh Glass is just an immortal being that eventually became Bear
Of course.
Grylls?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Man from Earth style. He's just.
Bear Grylls, if you're listening, talk to us.
We're on to
please.
you.
Yeah.
He shows up at my door like... So
Do the accent. You can do the accent.
No, I can't do his
Okay.
accent.
Anyway,
I don't
so
even
Was he Australian, right?
I have no idea.
Anyway.
I'm obsessed with films like this where we're watching someone solve problems and trying to survive.
Yeah.
Another great one is All Is Lost with Robert Redford, which is really, really good.
Shout out to Robert Redford.
There's one, Arctic.
He also
with
played
Mads
The Great
Mikkelsen.
Gatsby.
That's true. Oh, that's right.
Connection.
Arctic with Mads Mikkelsen. It's really good.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch that one.
That one's
I
good.
want to watch that too.
There's lots of movies like that where they're just solving problems one after the other and surviving.
So,
right?
so they can survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is, again, this is part of the movie that I really, really love is, him, problem solving, like, okay, like with cauterizing his neck, like, okay, I have to drink. If I can't drink water,
Right.
I'm not going to make it very far. How do I fix this? Well, I got to cauterize it.
And then he builds that little thing out of the rocks in the river while he still can't move. So the fish will like go in there and be trapped.
Oh, that's right. Uh-huh.
And then he sharpens himself a spear so he can stab it.
Yeah. And then makes himself a little walking stick.
Yeah.
Because
little crutch.
because his ankle was broken, I'm assuming. And it's just so impressive. Of course, granted, the ending and how he tricks Fitzgerald is equally as impressive.
Yeah.
Also, there's a connection between how he kills the bear and his fight with Fitzgerald. But I'll bring that up when we get to that part.
But again, so he's always also narrowly escaping death, because the Ree keep catching up with him, and he's just narrowly escaping them at every turn. And then he meets, how do you say his name?
Hickok, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly.
He is Pawnee because he says I'm looking for more
Yeah,
Pawnee.
because some Sui killed
Yeah.
the rest of his tribe.
Yeah, and so he has someone to kind of keep an eye on him to make sure that he's not going to die in his sleep, which I'm sure is probably a thought that's going through his head the whole time. Like, I need to sleep, but what if I die in my sleep?
Or I get attacked by something.
Or I
Right,
get attacked
yeah.
by something. Yeah. But unfortunately, that friendship is sort of short-lived, which that kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was like, oh no,
Because the Frenchman, I guess he's out with his horse, probably looking for food when the Frenchmen find him and hang him.
yeah, which is just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sign, they put a sign on his body.
I meant to
It's
look
in
at-
French.
It's in French. It means we are all savages.
Well,
So
it's yeah, that what was that, like dramatic irony or something like that? That like,
Yeah.
they recognize that but they're still going to behave like, Anyway, and I really love that. So during the journey, I really love that after we get the realization, or that the troop gets the realization that Hawk may be still alive, I love how we cut away from Glass in the kind of the tail end of his journey. They just happen to miraculously find him.
Yeah.
You know, because the last part we see of him is, you know, he escapes the Ree once again, but unfortunately loses his horse.
Well, not before that. He rescues Hawaka, which is the
which is the Ree chief's daughter,
Araka's
Yes.
chief's daughter, who they've been looking for like
the entire time.
the entire movie.
Yeah,
And so he rescues her because she's being raped by one of the
Frenchman.
yeah.
Yeah, and so then he takes back Hickok's horse, and then subsequently loses the horse again.
Dude, that shot
Oh, I was not expecting that.
is tremendous
Yeah.
of him falling off the cliff.
Yeah. There's a mistake in it though.
Is there?
Yeah, he fires his pistol twice
Oh,
without reloading it.
Yeah.
you gotta reload those.
Yeah. It makes me think of that really dumb joke in Sleepy Hollow when, you know, he's revived in modern times and he fires the pistol, he drops it, and the cop's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I used my one shot." And she's like, "It has others."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, it does?" That show's okay. But I was like, that's funny. But yeah, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That's funny. But yeah, dude, I
You
wasn't.
kind of don't have time to catch it either because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not expecting him to fall off a cliff
No, and
because it comes out of nowhere. Because
I don't think he was either.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then he falls and his horse dies.
tragically, and he has to pull a Han Solo,
well, Han Solo was pulling a Hugh Glass. You know.
or what is it? What is in that episode of Rick and Morty? Like, we got to get inside BMO.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably not. It's not Han Solo. It's
Well, Han Solo does do.
I mean, yeah, I guess
he does empty
Well, he
out
does
the
it
guts.
to Luke.
Yeah.
And then, but anyway. But yeah, and I wonder how bad that smelled. That fake dead
and
horse.
It's.
I mean, he probably smells like death.
That's
anyway,
true.
from all of his rotting flesh.
That's true.
right.
Yeah, but he takes all the guts out and then crawls inside, and then we get the more like breath fog scenes of him.
Yeah,
like,
so
covered up in a.
brilliant. Yeah. And of course, Haley goes, "Well, how is that keeping him warm?" I go, "Well, you know, it's insulated. You know, it's the you know, it's why your stomach isn't as cold as it is outside. You know what I mean? It's insulated."
Yeah. And then, but that's when we kind of break away from the remainder of his journey. You know, he says sort of as we were talking about off mic, he sort of gives the horse sort of like a thank you, and then we cut away, and then that's when we get his troop gets the reveal that Hawk may be still alive.
And again, this sort of subtle reoccurrence of the canteen that what's his face? I'm sorry, his name is
Bridger.
Right, Bridger was making that spiral on it so we could recognize it.
Wait, is it
later.
all connected to Spiral?
Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say he did it so you recognize.
No, I know.
I think
but
it was just
he was just doing it, whatever. But
but
again,
that causes him to recognize it.
Right,
He leaves
it-
it with Glass because
right, it causes the audience
felt
to
bad,
recognize
yeah.
it for later.
It's that Rick Dalton scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You're like, it's
Exactly.
it's the canteen.
Yeah.
And once they find it, of course, Bridger just assumed it's Hawk because they are assuming that,
Hawk came back.
And back.
and that, they assume
Glass
that
died
Glass is dead
because-
anyway.
Yeah, but Fitzgerald knows otherwise. Fitzgerald knows it's probably Glass.
Yeah.
And I
Not
gotta
probably.
probably yeah. And I gotta get the hell out of here.
Right.
But I do love.
Which is sort of odd, by the way, that he would even assume that it was Glass because it could have been as easy as someone just stumbling upon it and getting the canteen anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that it's just a guilty conscience. The fact that he assumes it's Glass.
Well, again, like I said, he's been whining the whole.
Superstition, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Again, he's just been whining the whole movie.
Oh my God.
But I do love that Captain Henry immediately figures out Fitzgerald had something to do with it because, again, he's been whining the whole movie. The night before they have this the Frenchman shows up at the fort and says, we just found this near the Yellowstone. The night before, Fitzgerald was complaining to the captain about, hey, how are we going to get paid if we left all those pelts there? And are we going to go back to get those pelts? And Henry gave him a solution, we're going to go back and get them once, Captain whoever. Once the other captain and crew get back, we're going to go out there with the manpower and we're going to get those pelts. Well, when is that going to be? Well, I don't know. Yeah. Fitzgerald
after winter.
Yeah, Fitzgerald doesn't like that, and again, because he's been whining the whole movie about these fucking pelts.
It's his livelihood, man.
But I love that Henry figures it out instantly. Like Fitzgerald, he knows something, and Fitzgerald hightails it out there. He's going to Texas
once they find Glass.
Yeah, once they find
Glass, and then he realizes that Bridger and
Fitzgerald lied. Yeah, and I do like that Glass tells Henry, hey, you got to let Bridger go. He was just following orders.
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
He lied to him the entire time. There were no which they make a point of, later on with the scene of...
Yeah, because he says there's
Fitzgerald
a dozen.
actually, says there was 10. And he's like, were there 20 or 10? Which one? He's like, it doesn't matter.
I wasn't counting, but then he admits, there wasn't any.
Right.
We needed to go.
Yeah.
But then we get this great back and forth between Henry and Glass, because Glass is pretty much saying, I'm not done. I'm not resting. I will kill him. And Henry's pretty much like, no, you need to rest. I'll kill him for you. But Glass pretty much tells him, no, we're doing this together.
I love that line when he's like, you can't go back out there, you'll die. And Glass says, I'm not afraid to die. I've already done it. Yeah.
So it's so good. It's such a hard ass line,
It's a good line.
Then the sunglasses come down from the sky and land on his face.
My God. So now that we're at the point where we finally get the battle, if you will, between Fitzgerald and Glass, you were talking about the parallels. So I do see the parallels between, but I'll have you explain between the bear and Fitzgerald.
Oh, I just mean I feel like you had to talk about how they get to the little part by the river first.
Fine.
And you get to talk about the cool little.
Okay. So here
also, there's one thing. After you say that, I gotta say something.
Okay. So Glass and Henry track down Fitzgerald. They separate, which is never a good idea. And Fitzgerald kills Henry, but Glass has the smart idea he knows where I'm coming from as well. He's tracking me while I'm tracking him. So what he decides to do is he picks up Henry's body, puts it on his horse, and has the horse follow him, but then swaps places. And of course, Alejandro
he props up Henry's body with a
tree branch,
which was.
But he has the hood up, so Fitzgerald can't tell.
We
can't tell yet.
But Alejandro gives us a good clue. We see their boots. And so my first thought was, maybe he just swapped boots. Maybe Henry's boots were probably going to be better for how high up they've been going.
Or just in general.
Or just in general. But then I quickly had the other thought of, that's not Glass. Glass is on the other horse.
Yeah, pull the old switcheroo on him.
Pull the old switcheroo. And he clips Fitzgerald, which, we get this really intense chase sequence through the forest. And then we get the final battle at the lakeside.
Yeah.
After they kind of tumble down by the riverside.
Go ahead.
So that's all you know.
One thing that whenever somebody close to Glass dies, there's a noticeable change in weather, in the nature.
Okay.
When Hawk dies, it gets really windy. When Hickok dies, the temperature gets really cold and you can see more of Glass's breath.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I don't know how they managed to get this shot, but after Captain Henry dies, the avalanche comes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about.
I don't know if that was CGI or if it just happened.
Yeah.
Or if they did
controlled
avalanche of the snow. But I mean, it's a beautiful shot.
It really is.
Just like panning over.
And that's what I was thinking last night. I was like, is that CGI? Is that?
Yeah.
It's too good for it to not be, but it might be.
It's
CGI.
probably a controlled detonation to
Maybe.
let it go down, but
It is genius. It's gorgeous to look. Yeah.
but then they get down into this little part next to a river, and each has injured each other, but one connection is that before they get down there, Glass shoots Fitzgerald on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
The exact thing he did to the bear. Shoots
Yep.
him on the left side. And then, to kill the bear, he stabs him a bunch of times. To finally, get the upper hand, he stabs Fitzgerald.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
with
sort of in the same way he defeated the bear, he defeats Fitzgerald.
See, I didn't pick up on that.
One of the things that kind of threw me during that fight sequence was the chopping off the fingers. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was so rad.
Yeah, and he just seems like more annoyed than
Yeah.
than anything.
Because he's down to, he's like this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. She, yeah. But, so Jeremy,
Yeah.
would you like to tell the people how Glass gets his revenge?
So what's so interesting is that he has the opportunity to finish Glass himself,
Or you
or
mean
to finish Fitzgerald himself, and yet when he sees the tribe on the other side of it's not a river.
It is a river.
I mean, I guess kind of.
A creek.
Yeah. He notices who they are, and
And he recognizes
right.
Poaka.
Yeah.
Who he saved, and she recognizes him.
Right. And so he knows that there's a mutual respect there now between the two of them. And he lets Fitzgerald go in their direction via this river creek, right?
Mm-hmm.
And lets them take care of him.
Basically be like, it's out of my hands now.
Right.
And there's a whole
It's in God's hands.
spirituality kind of journey throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, with the...
Because he sees his son and his wife in a lot of visions.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a scene where he sees his wife in one of the dreams, and she's under the water.
Yes. There's
Sort of
that...
like the same, like mirroring how Fitzgerald's last scene was. After he gets scalped, he's dead, just under the surface of the water.
Right. There's also that dream sequence of literally Glass and Hawk in this church, right?
Yeah, like dilapidated church.
Yeah, with the frescoes and everything, and it's of course almost all gone, but there is that sort of beginning to sort of see that maybe this revenge thing isn't, or in a way that it's not up to him, this revenge, right?
Yeah, which is something that Hickok kind of tells him, is that, and I think had Fitzgerald not said what he said to Glass in the end, I think Glass really would have killed him.
You think so?
But he said you came all this way for your revenge. Well, I hope you enjoy it because it's not going to bring your boy back.
Yeah.
And then Glass says, no, it won't. And then he remembers what Hickok, or does he say what Hickok tells him, or does he remember what he?
I think he just remembers.
And then that's when he decides, you know what, it's out of my hands now.
Uh-huh.
And give him the old Batman Begins, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. But yeah, and then we get this amazing, and I love the final shot of the movie.
Yeah.
This amazing fourth wall break where he's gotten his revenge, and he has another vision of his wife, and you assume that means he's probably going to die because Fitzgerald did kind of fuck him up again.
I mean,
Yeah.
not as fucked up as
the bear
he
did.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that he could still survive it.
Yeah, with the leg wound and hand wound.
Stabs,
Yeah. But I just love that he looks directly into camera, and then we cut to black.
Cut to black, which you also still hear.
Yeah, you
him
hear
breathing.
him breathing.
And that's like another thing is, that line of, they say it a lot in Pawnee of, if you, something along the lines of, like, if you find if you still have breath in your lungs,
You fight.
You still fight,
Yeah.
and that continues even more through the credits. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I watched as much as I could. I was really tired by the time I finished the movie, so I was like, I want to, because I could hear him breathing. I was like, I want to keep watching, but I was like,
You're so
tired.
I love, and I've talked about it before on the show, where I love that the audio continues through the credits, right? And again, I don't even remember when the last. It was pretty recently, because I talked about how they do it in Requiem for a little bit. They do it in Black Swan for a little bit. Where in Black Swan, there's the cut to black, but you can still hear the audience cheering, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same with Requiem as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of that. I don't know how to explain it, but I love the fact that it's over, but it isn't, right? This sort of continuation through audio.
Yeah, I think that's sort of their way of saying that he survived.
Right. Because he still has breath in his lungs, right?
Yeah, man. It was intense, and it, you know, I told Dad that we were gonna do this, and my dad has seen this movie, and he was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "You're gonna love it." And he was like, "I don't care if I'm asleep. You text me," which I was too tired to text him. I said, "Dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry."
You still haven't texted him?
No. I went to bed and then woke up, pretty much hit the ground running today because we had to. Ashley and I had to get the dogs to the vet today, or not the vet, PetSmart.
Right.
But still, like he was like, "You're gonna love it," and then I told him what you had recommended. Yeah. Watch it with all the lights off, which I did.
Which, unfortunately, I couldn't with all the lights. I had a lamp on because Haley was still in there.
Yeah,
she doesn't like that.
But I did watch with all the lights off, and when I told Dad that, he was like, "Oh my god, I should try that now."
Yeah.
I was like, Jeremy. I was like, Jeremy recommended it.
For sure.
It adds to the ambiance.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it was just amazing, you know. And if I'm being honest, I don't think we'll get another movie like it. You know, I'm sure we'll get it. I'm sure we'll get another survival movie.
I mean, sure.
Oh yeah.
But one like this,
and especially how they shot it, which is, you know, it's amazing that they didn't use any sort of lights. Did you know that?
Yeah. It's all natural lighting.
Yeah. The only time they ever used any sort of like exterior, like extra light was when a campfire scene, I think they said.
Okay.
Because the fire was like kind of distracting in a way, so they just brought in some like soft orange bulbs to fill it in.
That would make sense. You know?
Yeah, but everything is just all natural light.
And I bet that's probably what inspired Robert Eggers for The Witch to use natural lighting,
which of course is also in itself an incredible movie, which you need to see.
Nothing about it.
Actually, I think The Witch came out before that.
Did it? Oh shit!
I'm trying to think. It's
Future
possible.
Rain will fix it. He'll fix it in post.
Good job, Future Rain.
Which is what an editor always wants to hear.
We're proud of you.
We'll fix it in
Future
post.
Rain. Yeah.
So, boys, are y'all ready to wrap up?
Sure. I think my thoughts would be, not only is this a great revenge story, of course, you know I love vengeance more than anything, but
in his office he says nothing is better than the sweet taste of revenge.
That's right. It says it on my whiteboard.
It's one of those motivational posters.
That's right.
A revenge dish best served cold.
But Inarritu does it in a way where it still takes its time, meaning that we still have these incredible establishing shots that last for a while.
Yeah.
Right? We're still living within the space. We're still getting these incredible shots of nature. Right? To where it's almost, not only is it a revenge tale, but it's also a survival film and a battle with nature. Right?
Yeah. And almost like, because the shots are so long, it feels like, you know, it does feel like you're there.
Yeah.
It does feel like, man, like when is he gonna finally get his revenge? Because it's taking so long.
Right. Yeah.
It's such a long movie.
Yeah,
it is a long movie.
It gives us sort of a sense of real time of him actually having to travel.
Yeah.
It's 200 miles, right, in the book.
Yes, I think that's the agreed upon, like
that he traveled 200 miles.
Yeah, and especially in like the historical thing. Do you know about how they had to move countries for the set?
I knew that they did, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
they were filming in Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
And all the snow
I did read
melted,
that.
so they had to move production to Argentina. because they have a similar like landscape, and it was still winter there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I read that last night, right after the movie ended. I was just kind of curious, and yeah, the snow had melted.
Bummer.
And they're like, damn it.
Yeah.
Well,
and on the DVD like bonus features, there's like a little short documentary there about
About them having to
like
move.
climate change.
Really?
As well, yeah. It's very interesting, yeah.
Well,
I'm
and of
sure
course, DiCaprio was a huge advocate for.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in his acceptance speech for his Oscar, he talked about how, global warming is real and how, they had to shoot. Because I remember him saying we had to go to the coldest place on Earth just so we could film this movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, that pretty much saying we shouldn't have had to do that.
Right.
Right. But anyway, so boys, I'm glad we did this. We miss having you on.
We do.
I'm sure the audience misses you.
You better.
Whew, that's a threat.
Whoa, that's a threat.
Wait, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, man.
I apologize.
Don't do that.
Well, I'm glad.
Love you guys.
So Jeremy, what are we going to be talking about next week? Unfortunately, Alex will not be with us. But
No.
what are we going to talk about next week?
Well, that's a good question. I'm looking at my list right now.
Well, and is it going to be next week? I heard you say that you're going to be
I will be out of town,
You
so
bastard.
we might need to take a week off.
You bastard.
Maybe I will be on next.
Yes. So maybe.
I mean, this is a supersized season, so...
Yeah, it is. I think.
I'll be replacing Ham Tardy over here.
Ham.
Ham Tardy.
Let's do.
Oh, man.
Let's do this one.
People are loving the dead air.
I know. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
All right.
So, all right. Next time that I will be on, we will be discussing John Cassavetes' "A Woman Under the Influence."
Yes! I'm so excited.
So that's pretty exciting stuff.
So excited. I've been so
Yeah.
ready to crack open that Cassavetes set.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I could have watched any of the
Yeah,
other
of
movies.
course. I mean, it's
but
not-
I wanted to wait until we did Woman Under the Influence.
Yeah. So that'll be next. Next
God,
time.
I'm so excited.
Be "Woman Under the Influence."
Have you seen it? Or know
No.
of it?
Never seen it.
I barely know anything about it. I just remember watching a video mentioning the movie, and the concept of it really intrigued me. And I told him, and then when we got our lists ready for this season, he was like, "Oh, it's on my list." I was like, "Perfect."
Because, and then of course this is and it's funny because we've even been mentioning it today, just throughout the day. Is I'm thinking of ending things in the movie. The two characters discuss "Woman Under the Influence" in the car.
Oh, that's right. And I think we had done that episode right after I had heard about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is so weird."
I know, it's so odd. Yeah.
So weird.
Weird connections.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So excited. I'm gonna make Ashley watch this one with me.
Cool. I don't know if Haley will or won't, but we'll
And
see.
from what I've read, it's just a drama.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I mean, she might just be bored out of her mind. Who knows?
well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed this kind of journey of the Revenant with our special guest, our birthday boy Alex. And
Thank you guys for having me.
Of
you're
course,
welcome,
man.
buddy. We'll always have you on whenever you want to talk about a good movie.
Yeah. Hey, we are doing kids this season.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So if you want to be back for kids,
Yeah.
Well, it's on
I'll talk
his
about that.
list.
It's on my
so
list, yeah.
Whenever he
Oh, yeah,
decides.
you haven't seen it.
I have not. Yeah.
You haven't seen it.
No. Hence why it's on his
I'm
list.
the only one that has seen it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to do kids, but we'll.
I mean,
yeah,
I'll
that's-
talk about it.
Yeah, that's later this season. So
But we will catch everyone next time for A Woman Under the Influence.